and you'll be remanded at the Nairobi remand. You shall be escorted to Bagadi District Hospital or Kenyatta National Hospital, or indeed any other convenient government facility for mental assessment. Plea is accordingly deferred to 28th of July 2025.
It couldn't take off. As a result, we have been given 14 days for which the accused will be taken to a government facility for purpose of doing mental assessment. Only then a plea can be taken. So we have been given to come on 28th of July 2025 for purpose of taking a plea.
So it's official that Clincy Barasa has been charged with the offense of murder, contrary to Section 203 as read with Section 204 of the CPC.
Na tukiuma mwena wa igoti tuthie kaunti ya Murang'a kuria kaunti ino hiranire kweheria marihi mothe ma thibitari o hamwe na moshari ma andu aria othe maguraririo kana kuragwo hindi ya mirurungano ya Murang'a Hirogo Kang'ata ni aria mararigitirwo thibitari-inĩ wa Level 5 wa Murang'a. Ihinda-inĩ rĩu Kang'ata nĩ akomithitie maabitha a borithi nĩ kũhũthĩra hinya mũkĩrũku ta ũrĩa Wambui wa Mwangi aratarĩria.
Rĩu andũ ana arĩa moragĩtwo nĩ maabitha a borithi na njĩra ya kũhũrwo rithathi mũthĩ wa mĩrũrũngano ya Sabasaba kaunti-inĩ ya Murang'a. Family ciao citikũrĩha marĩhi ma mocarĩ na arĩa mararigitwo no makuĩirwo mũrigo ũcio nĩ thirikari ya kaunti ya Murang'a. Ndeto ĩno ĩheanĩtwo nĩ gavana wa Murang'a Irũngũ Kang'ata hĩndĩ ya icera rĩake thibitari-inĩ wa Murang'a Level 5 kũrĩa Kevin Mwaniki wa mĩaka 22 kuma Kangarĩ akomete rũhonge-inĩ rwa arwaru arĩa hatĩrĩrĩku ICU.
We will waive the bill both for the people who are in our facilities and those who there are one person who has passed on. We will render free service, and because we do not want them to have double tragedy, so we will support the family by giving them free service in our facilities.
Kang'ata nĩ akomithitie gĩko kĩa maabitha borithi gĩa kũhũthĩra hinya mũkĩrũku harĩ kũng'ethanĩra na arũrũngani, akiuga gũkũ nĩ kwagarara ihoto iria ciheanĩtwo nĩ gatiba ya bũrũri ũyũ.
The people who did these damages are not our natives. We suspect something else, but we will leave at that. We also want to say that we condemn police brutality. We believe that we have better ways to deal with whatever happens during demonstrations.
Andũ a nyũmba ya arĩa mahutĩtio magĩcakaya ikuũ cia endwa ao o hamwe na ndwari ya arĩa othe makomete thibitarĩ makĩrutwo marithathi.
He was shot twice in the abdomen during the Sabasaba demonstrations. So we are sad as a family kwa sababu we don't think that excessive force was necessary for the kids. Huyo ni mtoto wa 22 years old. So it's sad for me and for my whole family. But we thank God because he's alive and he's going on well.
Muthenya wa ũmũthĩ nĩguo mwĩrĩ wa mwanake ũretwo Bernard Burumaina wa mĩaka 29 ũrĩa wahũrirwo rithathi na agĩkua akiuma wĩra ũrĩa kambuni-inĩ ya iria mwena wa Kangema ũgũkorwo ũgĩkwo ũthuthuria nyũmba-inĩ ya akuo ya Kangema.
Kulikuwa na insecurity kwa Kangari, hizo pikipiki zilikuwa zinaibiwa, so the resident walikuwa na hasira, ndio ikaleta hii maafa yote. Our governor amesikia hiyo na I hope atafanya steps za ku make sure hiyo kitu ita happen tena.
maya mokite riri mwendia wa turembeko twa maniuro Boniface Kariuki uria wahurirwo rithathi mwena wa Nairobi ni borithi muthi wa mirurungano ya kuririkana ikuo cia Gen Z aria moragirwo mwaka muhituku erekeire guthikwo muthenya wa rucio mwena wa Kangema wakiigwa kamuhwa ngunyira niguo ngururirie na nguthererie tondu gaka ni kanyakohoro kuma metumi ndigi maguru ritwa riakwa ni Sera Wambui wa Mwangi.
Nĩ ngatho Wambui wa Mwangi. Tũgĩthiĩ na mbere, ũnyihu wa kĩgĩna na wagi wa arutani a kũigana nĩ mamwe ma mathĩna marĩa magomeire gĩthomo kĩa andũ agima kana ngumbarũ gũkũ bũrũri-inĩ, maya makĩyumĩria hĩndĩ igongona rĩa kwamũkĩra sekta ĩno ya gĩthomo kuma kũrĩ ministry ya gĩthomo nginyagia ministry ya ũruti wĩra wa mũingĩ, kũrĩa mwandĩki mũkaru Joseph Mutari eranĩire kwarahũra gĩthomo gĩkĩ, akiuga kwa ihinda rĩrĩ andũ 128 nĩo mandĩkithĩtio. Gĩtũthikĩrĩrie.
It underscores our ministry's commitments to revitalizing adult education as a powerful driver of lifelong learning, community empowerment, and inclusive national development. In social protection, we say we should not leave no one behind.
Yes, yes.
Currently, over 124,000 adult learners are enrolled across the country, a testament to the demand and potential of this program. However, ladies and gentlemen, despite this progress, the sector faces significant challenges. Staff shortages, I was told there's natural attrition. Once you go. Once you retire. And therefore, we may be ending up getting zero officers here. Chronic underfunding, this has also been brought to my attention, that there is chronic underfunding. You know, when you send your budget for certain activities and is not honored, then there is a serious problem somewhere, which we should be able to sort out. With adult learning education receiving just 0.9% of the basic education budget, outstated curricular stigma and underutilized training infrastructure, compounding this is the absence of current data with the last adult literacy survey done in the year 2006. I don't think this survey is even relevant now. Because it's obsolete since the 2006 to date that is the data that you are using. Then surely it is a wrong thing. As soon I'm doing a survey for persons with a disability, we'll try and see how once we do the survey with those with disability, whether we can also bring on board the component of those who are illiterate.
Yes.
We see whether we can slot in a question that how many have attained formal education in that particular family when we are doing the literacy, the disability survey. We are doing that very, very soon, immediately.
Na tukitigana na icio ciĩgiĩ gĩthomo, tũgũkĩra riboti ĩgiĩ mũtongoria wa kĩama kĩa mawakiri bũrũri-inĩ LSK Faith Odhiambo nĩorĩtie gwethwo kĩhonia kĩa ndũgamano ĩrĩa ĩkoretwo gũkũ bũrũri-inĩ gatagatĩ ka mũingĩ na thirikari, akiuga namba ya ikuũ, nguraro na ũthũkangia wa indo nĩĩkĩrĩtie njano, akĩaria hĩndĩ ya kĩgomano gĩa kũmũrĩka mũtaratara wa watho wa kũhotithia mũingĩ kũheanaga mawoni mao. Faith augĩte ihinda nĩ ikinyu mũingĩ na atongoria kũiga bũrũri mbere ya mabataro mangĩ o mothe, akĩũria mũingĩ kwamba kũrũgamia mĩrũrũngano ĩrĩa ĩkoretwo ĩkĩhanĩka na borithi matige kũũraga Kenya na njĩra ya ũnyamu. Reke tũthikĩrĩrie.
There comes a time in our country, there comes a time in our nation that we must call upon all actors to remember that we are a country guided by the rule of law. And the rule of law meaning It demands and behoves on each and every one of us to call ourselves to order. That we remember that the country is greater than each and every one of us. And in that spirit, I ask that it's high time we sit and have a meeting of minds. No more killings, no more people on the streets. It's a time that we have a ceasefire. Seeing the deaths, seeing all that is going on, seeing the cry and desperation, seeing the bodies at the morgues. This is our country. We have 2 years to the election, and yet we are escalating to a level. Someone would think that we are the ones holding election in 2 months. This is our country, this is our nation. It's time we called a ceasefire on all actors. Whether you're in opposition, whether you're in government, Kenya is bigger than each and every one of you. Stop calling our young men and women on the streets. Stop killing our young men and women. I demand, as a nation, we call for a ceasefire, that there has to be law and order in this country. Because if we cannot trust in our courts, we cannot trust in our processes, we cannot trust in our institutions, our country will truly fall. And it behoves on each and every one of us that has this opportunity of leadership that we say it is time that we call a ceasefire. No more deaths. No more going to the morgues. No more collecting bullets. No more seeing our children dying on those streets. I thank you.
Na warigitani kaunti-inĩ ya Embu nĩ makumithitie tharĩkĩra iria iratungirio arunao hĩndĩ ya mĩrũrũngano ya Sabasaba mwena wa Kitengela kaunti-inĩ ya Kajiado. Makiaria marĩ na andĩki a mohoro, arigitani maugĩte o matikoretwo magĩkuruhania na ũteti wa bũrũri, na ũguo matiagĩrĩirwo nĩ gũmũrĩkwo hĩndĩ ya mĩrũrũngano, na ihinda-inĩ rĩu nĩ morĩtie thirikari ĩgacĩrithie ũgitĩri mathibitarĩ-inĩ ma mũingĩ nĩguo ũndũ ta ũyũ ndũkanecokere.
Yes, you are also the target. What target?
You are target because they don't think the government. I need sterile gauze to clean off the water from my hands. These hands cannot be cleaned or dried using tissue paper because tissue paper has germs.
Rĩrĩa kwĩna mĩgomo nĩ maratuĩkire nĩ andũ a kũriva mandagĩtarĩ. Na mariva mandagĩtarĩ ino rĩrĩa marivwo marithathi na kũu nja nĩ borithi. Macoka thibitarĩ ndagĩtarĩ waya mararivire. No maratuĩkire a kũmathondeka. Rĩu ũndũ ũmwe nenda kwĩra wananchi ithuĩ twĩ mandagĩtarĩ tũtikoragwo tuoete mwena nawe ũmwe wa gĩsiasa. Na ndagĩtarĩ wĩra wake ũkoragwo wĩ wa kũrigita mũrwaru. Mũrwaru ona ũgakorwo nĩ waita my brother varia. Ũvũrwe nĩ andũ ũretwo gwakwa na amenya nĩ waita my brother varia. No angũ kũthondeka ire kũbagua. Tondũ niĩ thomithĩtwe kũrora maũndũ ma mũrwaru. Koguo maũndũ mau mai na andũ ma kũriva mandagĩtarĩ na gũtharĩkĩra mathibitarĩ, ũcio nĩ ũndũ ũtetĩkĩrĩtwe nginya nĩ sheria cikoragwo ithiĩte nginya kũndũ gwĩtagwo Geneva. Gwĩ kĩndũ gwĩtagwo Geneva Convention. Atĩ ona kwĩna varo thibitarĩ ndĩagĩrĩirwo kũvutwa kana ndagĩtarĩ kũrivwa. Na nenda gwĩkĩra record straight hava na mũthikĩrĩrie wega na matũmwo ĩrĩ. Cecily Mbarire nĩ governor wa Embu. Na tũtingĩtuĩka nĩ tũreka maũndũ gũkũ Embu tũtekũmũ involve. Koguo governor wa Embu Cecily Mbarire no nginya ingĩramũ involve nĩguo tũke tũvingũre college ĩno, na nginya MP wa gũkũ Manyata Mũkũnji nĩ guest witũ ũmũthĩ. Wanake nĩ involve tondũ andũ aya tũgoka kũvingũra college gwake na nĩ mũtongoria. No nginya tũrute wĩra na atongoria. Teguo tũtingiuma Mombatha tũke gũkũ twambĩrĩrie gwĩka maũndũ metũ tũtekwĩra atongoria. Koguo varia governor araũkĩra ũvingũrire wa college ĩno nĩ ũndũ nĩwe governor wetu gũkũ Embu. Wana nginya Mũkũnji aramũ invite I guest of honor ũmũthĩ tondũ nĩ mũtongoria wa gũkũ Embu, ona MCA, ona woman rep, andũ acio tũtingĩmatigana vuva. Koguo gũteva andũ maraũkĩra atĩ oneo ene a college ya North Coast Medical Training College. Ũcio nĩ ũthani. Ene ya North Coast Medical Training College for your records, na no amũthie nginya kwa Registrar of Societies mũrorie. North Coast Medical Training College registered with a company registered by guarantee, limited by guarantee. Ĩyo nĩ kuga nĩ kambuni ĩtekoragwo ĩgĩetha ũhoro wa profit.
Na tugukira riboti ingi gimaine na ũgima wa mwĩrĩ kuria a Kenya 75 makuaga oro muthenya na wangi 84 makonekana marĩ na mũrimũ wa cancer harĩ o mwaka. No kuringana na Cancer Institute riu nĩ kũrĩtio andũ magathimagwo tene nĩguo makanyihia morũrũ ma mũrimũ ũyũ.
We have already mentioned how about the rising burden of cancer in Kenya, and that it poses an existential threat that needs to be addressed. When we talk about deaths in the tens of thousands, and that might even be an underestimation, it means it is something that is clearly serious enough. And especially when you talk about chronic illness, the ramifications don't just go beyond the morbidity and the mortality we're talking about. It goes beyond that into aspects about psychosocial well-being of the patients and their families. It goes in terms of occupation, because the moment you've got chronic illness, and especially when it's debilitating, it hampers your ability to work and therefore your ability to earn a living. And therefore it also has financial effects. First of all, people start depleting their savings. Then after that you start borrowing. Then after that you start selling your assets. And that is the aspect about financial risk protection which we are supposed to ensure that our patients don't go through. Now, there's a very distinct association between poverty and ill health, and especially when it comes to cancer. And I call it a bidirectional causality, because one is a cause and the poverty is a cause as well as a consequence of ill health. And that association can only be broken, again, if we think also about the social determinants of health. Because there are other factors, the environment in which we live, in which we grow, some of which the CEO has alluded to, are things that impact our ability to be able to manage our patients with cancer. When it comes to poverty, there's a whole multiplicity of deprivations that conspire to ensure that adverse health outcomes are disproportionately concentrated amongst the poor in our population. And therefore, handling poverty becomes a key thing. And that is why even when in the government's beta initiative in terms of the transformation agenda, you find that the economic aspects take priority, because once the economic aspects improve, even health status improves. Now, care delivery needs to be holistic. And it's very easy to throw out all these terms and say holistic, it needs to be patient-centered, but what does that really mean? Are we actually engaging our patients as active partners? Or are we as caregivers or healthcare providers deciding at some times that, oh, this is too complicated, how can they understand about chemotherapy? And so we just give it to them as if we're giving them an IV with some IV fluids in it. We have to engage our patients as active partners, and we have to manage them in the entire healthcare continuum, whether it comes to primary prevention, secondary prevention, or early diagnosis, when it comes to the aspects of diagnostics, when it comes to treatment, and also survivorship, palliative care, and end-of-life care. We have to involve our patients. Personally, I'm very passionate about especially end-of-life care. I think it is a statistic which I think I've seen in the past, and even from personal experience you will agree, that a lot of people in our country spend almost 90% of their total health care expenditure in their lives in the last few weeks of their life. You can have somebody who has never been unwell and is 60 years old or 65 years old, and in the last few months of their life, they spend more than 90%, and especially in the last few weeks. And that has got to speak to some inappropriate treatment or some decisions. We have got a lot of people, for example, getting ICU care where it is not indicated. You know, you have got to accept at some point that you have reached the end of your life. And sometimes, even as healthcare professionals, we are making people make decisions which don't make sense. You know, my late grandmother, when she was passing away once, when I was a young doctor, very aggressive, and you know, when it's your family member you want to treat, she had esophageal cancer. And at that time, I kept insisting that we continue treating and treating. And my mother asked me in my vernacular, she asked me, are you prolonging life or you're postponing death? That was the question she asked me. And she told me, my grandson, at this point, you're postponing death, not prolonging life. And she said, take me home, all right? And those are the kind of things I'm saying when you've got ethical principles, autonomy, letting patients, and it's easier said than done. As healthcare professionals, we're used to imposing our will.
Tugitigana na icio ciĩgiĩ mũrimũ wa cancer tuthiĩ kaunti ya Nyandarua kũrĩa family ya Ephantus Kamau Waithaka kuma kaunti ĩno rĩu nĩ iretha kĩhoto thutha wake kũrathwo nĩ maabitha borithi hĩndĩ ya mĩrũrũngano ya Sabasaba mwena wa Gĩtarũ. Na kũringana na ũthuthuria wa postmortem wonanĩtie atĩ Kamau akuire thutha wa kura mũno rĩrĩa ahũrirwo rithathi ya njohero. Na kũringana na family ĩno, Kamau aumaga wĩra hĩndĩ ĩrĩa arathirwo na ndarĩ ũmwe wa andũ arĩa marũrũnganaga.
Hiyo mtoto wangu alifanyiwa kitendo cha unyama. Juu hakuwa na hatia. Hakuwa mwizi. Na hawa askari waliambiwa shoot and kill na wakafanya hivyo. Sasa wameniletea hasara, pressure, kila kitu wameniletea. Na nimepoteza mtoto. Sasa hatuwezi shirikiana na serikali inatulia watoto.
I want to urge for restraint on the part of the state. Those orders that are being given for police officers to use force, lethal force, and that can lead to massive more loss of life.
Hii maneno tulikuwa na ugumu sana kwa sababu sikutarajia mtoto wangu hivyo itakuwa, kwa sababu alikuwa kwa kasi, sikujua atapata mambo mengine, lakini nikasikia nikapigwa simu nikaambiwa mtoto wangu ameaga. Sasa sisi na kusema juu sasa serikali ifanye vile inataka kufanya tu.
We have done the autopsy on the body of the late Ephantus Mwangi, and we have seen that he was shot once. The bullet entering the right chest cavity, perforating the lungs, going to the abdomen, lacerating the liver, and perforating also the omentum. And there is a lot of bleeding in the right chest cavity and in the abdomen. A lot of bleeding. The bullet did not come out. It was lodged in the right inguinal area, and we have managed to come out with it, which we have given to the investigating officers for ballistic, whatever they want to do with the bullet.
Itemi-inĩ rĩa kũgacĩrithia iganda cia cukari bũrũri-inĩ, thirikari nĩ yanĩrĩire kũrũgamio kwa ihinda kwa mĩhang'o iganda-inĩ cia Upper na Lower Western kwa ihinda rĩa mĩeri 3 kwambĩrĩria rũciũ. Mwerekera ũyũ ũkĩte rĩrĩa igoti rĩa cukari rĩambĩrĩirie kũrutithio wĩra muoroto warĩ kũnina ũgũri wa cukari kuma nja wa bũrũri gũkinyĩria mwaka wa 2027. Iganda iria ihutĩtio nĩ mwerekera ũyũ nĩ Nzoia, Butali, West Kenya Sugar, Mumias na Busia Sugar.
I know credit management sometimes can be a bit of how it is taken through the implementation process, and I don't think sugar development. Part of the problem we have had in this sector is, and as Yanti correctly put it, we have very many farmers who do not honor the contracts, and I think it emanates from the fact that we have quite reinforced the contracts, because every contract must include provisions for rewards and punishment. I think that as we get into that, so that it cannot be loose, that even after signing the contracts, the farmers more or less can, get into aspects that would amount to cheating. We have had very many cases of farmers signing a contract with a particular miller, and then somewhere along the line they find that they are getting into financial difficulties, and they again try to use the cane that has been developed through a contract with a miller, try to use it to get money while it's honoring the contract. So I think one of the things that I think I made this clear when I was doing factory tours, we want to see how we can develop very tight but enforceable contracts between the millers and the farmers, so that, because that is the only way you can have discipline. As we progress, I want to inform you that the National Treasury has also approved the transfer of the Sugar Development Fund that was in the Commodity Fund to be taken up by Kenya Sugar Board, and the CS has already done the letter, and we are in the process now of moving that money back to Kenya Sugar Board. I think some of you already have loans that are running, so probably from 1st of September now the payments will come directly to Kenya Sugar Board. I also wish to add that this sector, we've been given a very huge task with the chairman to make sure that the sugar sector works.
Na riboti yo higi urimi wa igwa ni tukaba gwikiria nayo ni gucokereria na mangĩ maingĩ thĩinĩ wa ikĩrĩka rĩa kerĩ.
Kameme TV.
People Daily, Kenya's trusted newspaper, is making history as the first daily to go fully digital. By transitioning from print to the PD News app, we are delivering the same exceptional journalism you've relied on for years in a completely new way to experience it. It's news for today and the future. No paper, no waste. Just real-time updates and customizable stories. This is a leap towards innovation, sustainability, and a better experience for you, our reader. Download the PD app now on Play Store and App Store. People Daily. News that moves with you.
Muthenya mwega umenyekanaga riũa rĩkiuma ngo-inĩ, na ũngĩkorwo na mũtirithania mwega noguo muthenya waku uthakaraga na ukagĩrĩra. Na nĩkĩo gũkũ gwa Kameme TV tũrĩtirithanagia nawe kwagĩrithia muthenya waku.
Na niĩ Mũmbi wa Chege.
Njĩtagwo Kĩmani wa Ngũnjiri.
Na niĩ Njoroge wa Kĩmani.
Atunyitanĩre ithuothe niĩ Maina Kĩhumo.
O muthenya wa Jumaine nginya wa Gatano kwambĩrĩria thinacara cia kĩroko nginya thaa 4 cia rũcinĩ. Salimika hewani, salimika hewani. 254 Kegwa kuhuhua mulio mashete shwa shwa shwa. O Jumamothi ni twekenere live mitambo-inĩ ya Kameme TV, and now live on Kameme FM. Jeta First Officer Jeff Joroge